Am I the asshole? ATAH for telling my deadbeat father's wife and daughter to leave me the FK alone? My dad walked out on me and my mom when I, 19 months, was just a baby. He didn't pay child support, didn't show up for visitation, didn't attend a single court hearing, and never once reached out to me. In every way possible, he made it clear that he wanted nothing to do with me. For years, he was like a ghost, a figure I vaguely knew existed, but who had no presence in my life. As a kid, I had questions. Of course I did. I wondered what he looked like, if I inherited anything from him, his hair, his smile, his laugh. I wondered if he ever thought about me. Did he feel regret? Did he wish he could see me? But no matter how many times these questions came up, my mom always sidestepped them. She never badmouthed him. If anything, she went out of her way to protect me from the truth. She'd tell me, some people just aren't ready to be parents, or he wasn't in the right place to handle responsibility. It wasn't until I turned 18 that she finally told me everything. She sat me down and laid out the full story, no sugarcoating this time. She showed me a thick folder of court documents and receipts, a physical representation of the years she spent fighting for me. There were pages documenting the child support he owed, thousands and thousands of dollars he never paid, pages showing how he avoided every court summons, dodging his legal and moral responsibilities. My mom fought tooth and nail for 6 long years to get him to contribute anything at all, but he always found a way to slip through the cracks. Eventually, she had to stop, partly because the legal battle was draining her financially and partly because it was eating away at her emotionally. She had no choice but to let the debt pile up and focus on supporting us alone. And she did. She worked long hours, made sacrifices, and did everything in her power to give me a good life. Meanwhile, he moved on like we never existed. That's who he is to me. A deadbeat. A man who abandoned his child without a second thought and left my mom to shoulder everything on her own. I don't have anything good to say about him, and frankly, I don't want to. I have zero interest in knowing him or establishing any kind of relationship with him. But then, in September, he, or rather his family, decided to reach out. It started with a friend request on Facebook from a woman I didn't know. We had no mutual friends, so I ignored it. Then I rejected it. A few days later, she sent another request. At that point, I was curious. Who was this person, and why were they so persistent? Against my better judgment, I accepted the request to see what it was all about. Almost immediately, another request came in, this time from a girl. I didn't recognize her either, so I rejected it. Like the first woman, she sent the request again. I noticed they were connected on Facebook, so I left it ignored, uneasy but not yet alarmed. Then the messages started. The first woman turned out to be my father's wife. The girl was his oldest daughter, my half-sister apparently. They explained that they'd been looking for me and believed I was old enough now to know the truth and decide for myself whether I wanted a relationship with my family. The wife said they wanted to reconnect because my father deeply regretted not being in my life and thought it was time to make amends. I was stunned. I didn't even know how to process it. This man, who had abandoned me for my entire life, now wanted to play happy family. His wife and daughter, who I'd never met, were suddenly claiming I belonged to them. It felt surreal, like some kind of cruel joke. I told them I wasn't interested. I made it clear that I didn't want to hear their version of the truth or have any kind of relationship with them. I asked them to leave me alone. Then I unfriended the wife, blocked both accounts, and set my profile to private. But it didn't stop there. The daughter found my Instagram account, which was linked to my Facebook. She started messaging me there saying I didn't know the full story and deserved to hear it. She talked about how she and her siblings had always wanted to meet their big brother, and how the entire family was eager to reconnect. Once again, I blocked her and ignored it. I thought that would be the end of it, but I underestimated how relentless they could be. The daughter tracked me down on another platform. She created new accounts to send me messages, each one more desperate than the last. At first, I tried reporting the accounts. When that didn't work, I replied one last time. I apologized if she'd gotten her hopes up, but I reiterated that I wasn't interested. I told her I wanted no part of their family drama. The next day, the tone shifted. Both the wife and the daughter sent me messages accusing my mom of being the reason I didn't know my father. They called her abusive and manipulative, claiming she drove him away and left him with no choice but to abandon me. They painted him as a victim, a man who had to sacrifice his relationship with his son to protect him from an unsafe environment. I was furious. My mom had worked herself to the bone to give me a good life. She sacrificed so much to make sure I had everything I needed, all while he did nothing. For them to accuse her of being abusive was not only false, but insulting. I responded with one simple question. If my father really believed my mom was abusive, why did he leave me with her? Why didn't he fight for custody, or, at the very least, try to maintain some kind of relationship with me? Their excuses didn't add up, and I told them as much. I thought that would shut them down, but it didn't. As Christmas approached, I got a long, emotional message from them. This time, they spun a sob story about how my father left because he thought my life would be better without him. They claimed he feared my mom would abuse me more if he stayed, so leaving was his way of protecting me. I couldn't take it anymore. I told them to leave me the fuck alone. I warned them that if they didn't stop harassing me, I would go to the police. The wife completely lost it. She accused me of being abusive, called me my mother's son, like it was some kind of insult, and said I should be ashamed of myself for speaking to her teenage daughter that way. The messages kept pouring in. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing with notifications. I had to turn it off just to get some peace. Eventually, I went to the police to file a harassment complaint. Unfortunately, they told me I didn't have enough evidence yet to make a strong case. I'd have to document everything going forward, so now I'm stuck in this exhausting cycle of blocking, reporting, and documenting. Every time I think it's over, they find a new way to contact me. It's draining. It's infuriating, and most of all, it's unfair. My father chose to walk away from me 19 years ago. He made his decision, and I've made mine. I don't owe him or his family anything. Not my time, not my forgiveness, and certainly not a relationship. For more interesting daily life stories, make sure to subscribe and comment your ideas. I will be posting more stories about a lot of aspects of life. Thanks for watching. See ya!